so this is gonna be your perspective block assignment. This one is gonna be really fun. You'll be able to learn a little bit about 2-point perspective, 2-point linear perspective. And at the same time, you'll be able to really apply your creativity and ingenuity just like before. So when you're making your perspective block, you're gonna think of a street corner. If you want to go reference a street corner, maybe see kind of what that looks like, what it feels like, how high the buildings are going up, what's on the block, what kind of fire hydrants, dogs, people, what's the lighting look like, what's the feel of it. You're welcome to reference an actual city block for that. So when you're starting this, what I want you to do is on your 18 by 24 paper, you don't have to work as big as your 18 by 24 paper. You're actually going to start by creating a rectangle inside of your 18 by 24 paper in which you will put your vanishing points outside of the rectangle. I'm working on a smaller piece of paper just for the sake of filming, but you're welcome to kind of make this about the size of my piece of paper. So when I have you in these instructions, I'll have you draw out that rectangle. You can make that about the size of a sheet of computer paper, maybe a little bit bigger, but no smaller than like 8 by 11. So my piece of paper here is about like 14 by 11. So you can make it 11 by 14 if you want to have it about the same size as mine. So since my paper is 11 by 14, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle inside of this first. And I want my rectangle to be, it has to be at least 2 inches away from the edge of my piece of paper. So measure 2 inches here. I'm going to measure 2 inches over here. And go ahead and create kind of like a border for my drawing. And then the paper on the outside can just kind of like act like as a frame. And you can always cut this out or something later if you want to, or you can just leave it. So you'll have a line on the bottom. You'll have a line on the top. Okay, and then somewhere kind of right in the middle, I want to have my horizon line, just right smack in the middle. You can just eyeball that, you can measure it. I'm gonna say the middle is about right here. So this middle line, like I said, this is going to be your horizon line, and this is going to be kind of what you refer to for the rest of your drawing. So you're going to have that horizon line come all the way out beyond the border that you have created on your piece of paper. And then you want that, you want that to come all the way pretty far, maybe like 1.5 inches or 2 from your border. And then at the very end, you're gonna have 1 vanishing point here, and you're gonna have 1 vanishing point there. You can write it in if you want, but you don't have to. This is just going to be a reference because really the actual drawing is going to kind of lay inside of here. So for this block that I'm looking at, I'm looking catty corner onto a block. That's where my vantage point is. And I'm just going to have my my very middle building right smack in the middle. I can orient this over to the left. I can orient it over to the right. You're welcome to kind of play with that design, but I'm just going to keep this pretty symmetrical. Let me just kind of guess where my middle area is, probably somewhere there. Okay. So this is going to be the corner building of my perspective block. It's going to come all the way down there. All right, so now that I have this corner of my building, I just want to make sure that this building, everything from this building goes to my vanishing point in this direction and this direction for 2-point perspective. So the bottom of my building here, I'm gonna line up that with this, draw that in. I'm gonna line up here, this vanishing point, draw this in. Okay, so leave your horizon line as you go. That's gonna be like one of the last things you start to erase out. I'm looking at a building. I haven't decided in my mind, in my imagination, what building I'm looking at. Like I said, this can be inspired from your actual environment. This can be inspired from a place that you have been before, maybe a place that you miss. Anything that resonates with you. This could also just be like a fun, futuristic, imaginative thing. So I'm looking at my city block here. And now that I have gotten my two sides of this, I'm just gonna go ahead and erase out this horizon line so I can start to really see my block. And then I can start to consider things like doorways. We could put a door over here. I can even have my door arch. I could put in a couple windows as well. I'm gonna have, so anything with this horizon line, like this is gonna be invisible. Let's just say our building is invisible with this horizon line here. If I draw any windows, I want them to line up with the vanishing point. So I can have one edge of my window here, another one here, another one here, and another one here. But I need the bottom to line up with the vanishing point, and really relying on this middle vertical to orient everything to. So I'm gonna pull the bottom edges of these windows to the vanishing point without actually pulling them all over there, or else it can be stuck with a lot of erasing. So you can just eyeball this one instead. And then I'm gonna just make these an archway because that looks nice. Put two windows below that horizon line, and then let's put two windows above the horizon line too. So I can even match them up like this if I want to keep it all orderly. And then I just have to make sure that the bottom of these windows line up with my vanishing point too. And I can make the decision on how tall I want that. Now, if I want to start putting in the edges, like if I want to see this side of the window, I'll be able to see this side of the window, right? But not this side, because we can only see the right side of the whole building. So I will have to make sure to try and, well, since I have that rounded, let's see here. Let's do the inside of this door here. I want to see that little edge, that intersection of that door. So I'm going to line it up with the vanishing point that goes this way, because anything on the right side, any window or door on the right side, has to line up with the vanishing point going left. And then anything on the left side of the building, like a window or a door, any edge has to orient to the right vanishing point. So we got this little edge of our doorway, it's kind of an archway. I don't know what kind of building I'm drawing. This is just for fun. And I'm gonna draw in the side edge here. And I can even shade this in too, play with like an idea of lighting. There will also be kind of an example on how to do this, like a visual example for you to refer to. So let's do the bottom of that window. It's a pretty subtle edge. It's also pretty subtle because we're getting close to that horizon line. So I'm just gonna keep those lines parallel. That's parallel also. Draw this in. All right, so we won't be able to see those edges because we're looking up now. We can't see the edges. We'll still be able to see the bottom of this too. So whatever is happening to the windows below the horizon line is obviously going to be different than anything happening to the windows above the horizon line. So keep that in mind. And then you can just, you know, add from here. Like you can feel free to add in a sidewalk if you want to. You can add a little curb that goes down. I think one thing that happens when people are working this way is that they feel like these vanishing points are so extreme. Like, how could something really vanish into such a tiny little pinhole on these two sides? Like, but that's what we just have to remember when we're done. We get to erase this, and then that actually kind of looks like more it could exist in reality. I can kind of draw in my little cement blocks here for the sidewalk, keeping things pretty symmetrical. Remember, things get smaller as they vanish. Something to play with and keep in mind here. And then let's play with maybe having a building on the right here. What if we had a building that was really, really short? What if we had a building that was so short that it came below the horizon line? What would happen then? So let's just draw a roof. Let's use our ruler instead of the way we can just have a nice solid line. Happen if we had a roof below the horizon line? Let's find out. Okay. So would we see, the question is would we see the top of the roof going to our vanishing point? We would. We could put this up this way, pull that there, and also pull this here. But then we need this is going back in space, right? Like the back side of this, if this was invisible, will be here somewhere. So actually, we have to use this vanishing point perhaps also to figure out the top of the roof. There we go, that makes sense. This is kind of like a little easy for me in a way because I've, you know, have done this before, but it's still kind of challenging also. So this is below the horizon line, so we're gonna be able to see the roof just a little bit. And then since that is so short, you know, maybe this could be the parking garage or something that goes to my little building here. And so if I have that as a parking garage, make sure everything's lining up. Oh, that doesn't line up at all, actually. We got to keep things parallel. So, yeah, even though I've done this quite a bit before, I'm still making mistakes. I feel like I have to kind of use that vanishing point on the left-hand side. So whenever you are getting confused, just mix up maybe things that are going to one vanishing point isn't making sense. So start using the other vanishing point and you'll find that that will be the answer to your problem. That kind of works. I just think that it needs to be a little bit more parallel. So Maybe using this vanishing point wasn't correct. Just have to keep it parallel to the top. That makes a lot more sense. Even when we were modifying our cubes, that's what we were doing. Yes, so even, I make mistakes here. So here, yeah, you have a parking garage. This could be, you know, empty. You can put a sign on here. You can, like I said, just get creative with it. You can even start if like kind of you could like consider maybe even drawing some trees or something like that if you want to. This could be nice and dark. You could play with some cool shapes, some negative space. And then when you really want it to be finished looking, just erase out these parts. And voila, it looks more like a block. Have fun.